Nations. We have new visa price tags. An autism bombshell was dropped. We're going to be covering it all today here on the Bald Brad Show and a lot more. Make sure you check out baldbrad.com for all our merchandise. That is today's sponsor. If you haven't checked out our store, we got a lot of American Patriot merch for all of you. We got mugs, we got hoodies, we got women's t-shirts. We have it all. And also at baldbrad.com, we have a store that sells the book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America, right above my head. You're seeing it in real time, folks. It is a timely book. It is a great book. And it shows how there's indoctrination in the school system that's reshaping and has been reshaping the minds of the next generation. We also talk about the role of social media and the mainstream media in silencing dissent and spreading propaganda. We go over the anti-police movement and how the left's calculated use of race has divided the nation, folks. It is a great book. It is a great gift idea. Make sure you pick up yourself a copy today. Well, as I mentioned, Donald Trump is taking on the United Nations Foreign Policy Roundup. Donald Trump has been really strict with his foreign policy this Trump 2.0 administration, and he is scheduled to make a highly anticipated address to the nations, well, today. After taking office, Trump withdrew the United Nations from UN agencies like the Human Rights Council and World Health Organization, which made the left just lose their mind, by the way. They lost it. Oh, how could they? Well, that just first of all, the United Nations does absolutely nothing. It's a wasteful organization. And there's a lot of countries that are in that organization that actually commit or go against human rights. They commit human right violations all the time, by the way. I know that a lot of people don't like Nikki Haley, but I always plug her book because when she was Donald Trump's prior first term UN ambassador, she gives you a glimpse behind the curtain of what really goes on at the United Nations. And I highly recommend that you check that book out specifically just for that, because it's going to be an eye opener for all of you of how two-faced a lot of these nations are, where they will behind the curtain beg for money. They want to be your best friend. They'll polish your shoes, kiss your feet, lick the gunk out of the toes. But when it's actual time to voting, they'll give you the double middle finger right in front of everybody else. It's a wild book and the stuff that she reveals. So rescinded about $1 million in funding that Congress had already appropriated and ordered a review of any future funds going to the United Nations, saying he wanted to ensure its mission aligned with our national interest. Correct. Yeah. And I have no qualms with that. I'm tired of supporting all these things that go against our values. It literally doesn't even make sense. Like how often do you guys in your life support something where you're shelling out all this money for something that goes against your values? Some might say, well, Brad, we pay taxes all the time. Yeah, but I'm not talking about taxes. Okay. We're talking about like giving, making sure you're doing something that advances your ideology, not goes against your country. That's what the United Nations is doing. As a result, the UN is facing a severe budget crunch to save money. It has initiated plans to relocate its offices from New York and Geneva to low-cost alternatives such as Nairobi. Oh, I couldn't even point to that on a map. It's also planning to cut thousands of jobs and consolidate several smaller agencies. So what you're telling me is that we were basically funding this whole thing, even though, you guys, there's 193 registered nations through the UN. So you're telling me that without one, meaning us, it's not able to function. Really? See, it just goes to show you how much our money's just being thrown over here, thrown over there, but not actually going to building better roads or, revamping the military, all this stuff. No wonder we're in debt. No wonder, because everybody else is getting our money. And then when we don't send them our money anymore, they go under, going, oh, what are we going to do? Trump's speech will reportedly touch on his vision of how the United States is approaching the world. The assembly is hoping that approach includes funding commitments for the UN. Yeah, they'll say whatever you want, Trump. Don't be fooled. They just want you back so they can take your money again. Mike Waltz, a former Green Beret and Florida congressman, was confirmed by the Senate on Friday to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and hit the ground running, which I love. He could see through the BS. He doesn't need the BS. He's lived it. And, well, let's hope somebody advocates for America for once. Would be nice. The push for Palestine. Trump's speech will coincide with a separate conference on Palestinian statehood that's being led by France and Saudi Arabia. Canada, Britain, and Australia each offered recognition of Palestinian state for the first time this weekend. They joined about 150 of the 193 UN member states that have done so. But while Trump has seemingly grown more frustrated with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he's saying he needs to wrap up the war in Gaza. He's still expected to offer his support of Israel today. So Israel has now gone into Gaza and, they're still pummeling it. They're still blowing stuff up. Buildings are being destroyed. People are being deleted. And it's god awful. I mean, that place is a parking lot, man. It is rough. So we'll see what goes on with that. And, yeah. Also, the one that surprised me here, I don't know, did you guys hear about this? This right here was really surprising on what Trump said with taking back Bagram Air Base, or at least the airfield there. I was taken aback by this the other day. So last week, President Trump announced his intention to reclaim the air base, which was abandoned by Joe Biden. Y'all remember that one, the most botched pullout ever, which was abandoned and taken over by the Taliban following the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan under former President Joe Biden. When Trump was asked if he was willing to deploy American troops to retake the base, he refrained from giving a clear answer. So I don't know, man. The nice thing about this, right? I mean, even after World War II, we still have air bases all around the world, which is what you kind of want because it's a security measure that if something ever go wrong, well, you basically got an aircraft carrier on land and you just take off right there and you can hit any point in the world within hours. So that's why it's like I didn't necessarily mind staying in Afghanistan because, well, that whole place, that whole area, the Middle East is just, they can't get their bleep together. So I was always surprised that we gave it up. That doesn't mean you need to have thousands of troops in the area, but we've always been that way since World War II. Again, technically since World War I, but World War II, we got bases everywhere. It's nice to have it for national security reasons and global security reasons. So I wouldn't be surprised if Trump tries to take that back, not to mention there's billions of dollars of military grade equipment there that maybe gets salvaged. Who knows? The big news yesterday, I mean, this was a bombshell, and we'll see if it ends up being true. Well, let me break it down and then I'll explain. Autism report. Now, I'll tell you, when RFK Jr. said that it went from 1 in 10,000 reported autistic people in the 1970s to 1 in 35 now, and he was even saying the other day it was 1 in 12 boys. 1 in 12 boys are autistic. I almost fell over my chair. So much so I actually didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. That's such a wild statistic. I looked it up. It's legit. President Trump and Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., announced significant findings on research concerning a spike in national autism rates. For weeks, there have been speculation about this, but the Trump and Kennedy both linked one medication to possible cause is the key word there, of autism and another to a possible treatment, meaning they're not sure. This is just something they came out with. They probably saw a link, meaning a high correlation between the two. Correlation does not mean causation, folks. It's a big mistake that a lot of people do, and a lot of government policy does, is when they see a correlation between two things, even if it's a strong one, by the way, they will make policy with it. Now, sometimes not always bad, but what you would like to then do is go a little bit deeper on it. And this sometimes takes years, by the way. This is not a little weekend trip to, Bernie's here. This is a slow moving thing where then you create a task force, you create a team, and you design an experiment to see what are the cause and effects of this. Now, sometimes that goes into tracking people literally from birth that are taking Tylenol and just Tylenol only and going on there. So this is a whole thing, man. Well, the FDA commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary, said we have an epidemic of autism that has increased 400% in the recent decades, and we don't have a known cause. Well, what they're saying is the cause is using basically Tylenol. That Tylenol, and one of the most widely used medications globally for pain relief and fever reduction, is the cause of this whole thing. But when you have enough evidence to suggest an association, see, that's the key word, and you have no other plausible cause, we have a duty to notify parents and doctors. Did you all catch what was just said there? That's exactly what I was just mentioning to you. So a correlation is just another word for association. And usually you measure that up against two variables. And when you have a nice linear line, or the scatter plot is surrounded around that linear line, well, then that tells you how strong the connection is between the variable and whatever you're looking at. So in this case, it would be Tylenol and autism. Well, there's a strong connection between those that took Tylenol and autism, but it does not mean that Tylenol caused the autism. There's just a strong correlation. I'll give you like a famous one that's always used. Shark attacks and ice cream cells. There is a strong correlation between ice cream cells and shark attacks, folks. Well, why would that be? Not that you eating ice cream secretes vanilla or chocolate out of your skin and the sharks go, yummy, right? And you start getting eaten. No. It's because when it's hot outside, people tend to buy more what? Ice cream. This is a real thing, by the way. And then people, because it's hot outside, go into the ocean more. And who lives in the ocean? Well, the sharkies do. And so it just gives more opportunity to be bitten by a shark. So it is true. There is a strong association between ice cream sales and shark attacks. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't eat ice cream before being bitten by a shark. Now, maybe it is true. Maybe Tylenol is the cause of it, but an association, which tells me they don't know what they're talking about necessarily here, doesn't apply causation. The cure, the other major part of this announcement, was that a drug called leucovorin, also known as folic acid, can potentially help treat autism symptoms. Interesting. We recognize that some kids with autism actually have an autoimmune disease, and some doctors have actually started to test this antibody, and they will then move on to treat some kids with this acid or vitamin B12 that bypasses the receptor. See this, I don't know if there's already studies going on before. It's something I'd kind of have to hash out behind the scenes. Seems too quick to be able to say, oh, well, that's it. No Tylenol. I mean, it's a major problem too, because Tylenol is used during pregnancy. Because, say the mother has a fever or something, you want to bring that down. Tylenol is one of the medications that's provided, and that can lead to even more downside for the mother and the baby, by the way, and could still lead to autism or some other birth defects if you don't take it. So I don't know yet. I'm not sold on it. You guys know I love Trump, voted for the guy 3 times. I'm not against RFK. I think this is something that needs to be investigated. I think it needs to be something looked at, but that doesn't mean that is ultimately the reason why. And they literally said that they don't know if that's the reason why. So don't take my words for it. Take their words for it. That they mentioned there was just an association, there was a connection, and because they saw that a lot of people were taking Tylenol, and that was the one drug that everybody's taking across the board, and that led to most kids being autistic, well, that must be the reason why there's autism. So that is a very, I don't want to say elementary way of doing things, but it's a rough one. I'll tell you what, to come out with a study like that, it's a rough one. I need more proof, and drug that everybody's taking across, that ain't the way to do it. Well, if you're enjoying listening and hearing what you're seeing, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We do this each and every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube, Rumble. We're on X. We're on all platforms other than TikTok, because TikTok will just ban us because TikTok's supposed to be free speech. We'll see, though, how free speech it is, because TikTok was just recently sold, where I'm being told that the United States is going to have 80% of TikTok, and then China's going to have 20%. So we'll see if we still get deplatformed on TikTok. All righty. Well, why don't we go to the chat here really quick? Do you guys think that Tylenol is the reason for autism? So put a 1 in the chat if you think yes, and then a 2 in the chat if you think no. Yeah, we'll see what the Patriots say in the chat. Well, Pharma View, again, Kirk Perry thinks that makes Tylenol reportedly has a hasty schedule. All right. Well, H-1B visa debate. Here we go. Donald Trump put a massive price tag on this whole thing. Woo! Wait till you hear this number. President Trump signed an executive order that the White House says will curb abuse of the H-1B system that's freezing Americans out of good jobs. I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. By the way, it'd be nice to see our teens working again. It's amazing how many teens don't have jobs. Well, no wonder you have all these other people working in the fast food and don't feel like they need to, find an actual career job. They think flipping burgers is supposed to be their job because nobody works anymore. You guys remember when we were teenagers, we were all working? Some of us were flipping burgers at McDonald's, right? The cliche job, or hell, working in a warehouse. Some of us were paper boys. Some of us walked around and we put like things on people's doors. I was a referee when I was a kid. Like, I've always worked. These teens nobody work. These kids, I mean, how often are you walking in seeing like a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kid working? Rare. We used to see it. I used to see it all the time. Not anymore. All my friends in high school worked at Best Buy was one example. Worked for like a real estate agent. I mean, my friends worked. So it's odd. These kids don't do anything. Then they complain, oh my God, life's so hard. It's like, dude, you go to school all day and you come home and play video games. What the hell are you talking about? President Trump signed an executive order that the White House says will curb abuse of the H-1B visa system that's freezing Americans out of good jobs. The order has sparked confusion, leaving many wondering how it works and how and who it affects. Meaning, once again, the messaging from the Trump administration sucks. And I've said this from the beginning. It is one of the worst communications I've seen from a White House. One of the worst, not the worst, but one of the worst. Their messaging sucks. And mostly it's because Trump likes an idea and maybe he just talked about it with somebody and then he goes and he gets excited, and I don't blame him, and he starts throwing it out there, and then he goes, don't worry, we'll just announce it and then we'll figure it out later. The problem with that, and you want to know why I don't like that? Because you know who does that crap? Democrats all the time. They shout their ideas to the skies, but then they don't ever tell you how it works. And usually how it works leads to, worse consequences. That's why I don't like it. And I've seen Trump do that more often this second term. And it's not how you communicate. You get a plan, you develop that plan, and then you release that plan so that it answers everybody's questions that people would have. According to the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, the order imposes a one-time $100,000 fee per person on any company seeking a new H-1B visa. Leavitt said that in an X post, this is not an annual fee. It does not apply to any current H-1B holders who are outside the country or whose visas are currently up for renewal. Interesting. Divisive, hardly. So some of the president's supporters want the H-1B visa program massively reduced, if not canceled entirely. But even among the president's supporters in the tech sector, they'll say that the system could use reform. Well, sure, every system could use reform, but the problem is it's being abused. People are overstaying their visas and they're taking jobs. And like I said, if there's not enough work, then what we could do is get the teens out there to start working again. It's amazing how the problem's so easy, in my opinion. Go out there and work. You don't have to work full time as a teenager. That's not what I'm saying. Work 20 hours a week. You know what I mean? Get maybe some of those kids that would rather be gang members. Why don't you get them out there and working for a little while? I'm not saying it has to be at Staples or Walmart or anything like that. Go out there and get some agriculture jobs. Actually see the cost of doing labor and get them off the streets, and you pay them a little bit of money. Rather than having all these illegals do all this stuff, or take your jobs, or overstay their visas, or whatever. Those kids, they can work a little bit cheaper. You know what I mean? And make a little bit of money. But God forbid you do that. Matter of fact, there was a great book called The Vanishing American Adult. Again, The Vanishing American Adult, written by Ben Sasse, the prior senator of Nebraska. He's now the president of, I think, like the University of Florida or something like that. Well, he wrote how he would have his daughter over summer go work for free on a farm in Nebraska because he wanted her to learn the value of hard work, to wake up at like 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning and go shovel a bunch of animal manure and doo-doo into a truck and a bin. And you get the idea of making a buck and hard work. Well, she ended up actually liking it. She learned a lot of values and made her a tougher person. She had to overcome many obstacles doing that. Not that the obstacles were hard, but for a teenager, the obstacles are a little bit different. And you know what happened? A freaking Karen. A Karen reported him. A neighbor reported him for child abuse. It was like child endangerment or something like that. I have to go look at what the exact his child for like child labor stuff to go work on a farm for free. I believe it was free. I don't think they paid her. And she liked it. She was having a good time. She wanted to stay. This is what we have. The Vanishing American Adult by Ben Sasse is a phenomenal book. And it's even going to show you a glimpse into the education system because him and his wife worked in the education system at the high levels of the collegiate system. You're going to want to read that book. I think it's going to change your mind on a lot of things. Definitely an eye opener. Again, so some supporters, want it to be revamped. Some want no H-1B visas. Well, back in December, Elon Musk, a strong supporter of the H-1B program, posted on X that it is broken and needs major reform. He said many complaints about abuse could be addressed by raising the minimum salary significantly and adding a yearly cost for maintaining the H-1B, making it entirely more expensive to hire from overseas than domestically. Well, have you guys seen the new thing they're doing in hotels? So, when you walk in a hotel, you usually are met by a person at the front desk. Some hotels don't even have that person anymore. No, you have a flat screen TV. Those kiosks that you choose your menu from McDonald's? Well, now it's just a person that's in freaking India. This is I know you're like, no way, Brad. I am being as serious as a heart attack here. It's basically like you're seeing me. It's like this. It actually looks like this. This is literally what it looks like. And it's just a guy and he has his headset on. He's like this. I'm not exaggerating this one bit. Hello, how you doing? Thank you. Please put your credit card or debit card into the system, please. Okay, thank you. Go ahead and sign the prompt, and then a contract will appear on the screen. Go ahead and sign the contract, please. Thank you. Right, and their heads bobbing. Okay, please take your card out of the system, please. I'm as serious as I could possibly be. And the guy's thousands of miles away. They're outsourcing freaking hotel employees to sign you into a hotel room. You want to know why? One, because it's getting pricey. Somebody wants $35, $40 an hour to type your name into a system, swipe your debit card, and give them a room key. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that stuff needs to start being outsourced. Maybe it does. I'm sorry. Maybe it does, because I'm tired of this shit. I'm sorry to cuss, but it's true. I'm tired of people wanting to live like the freaking Kardashians, but don't want to do the work necessary to live like the Kardashians. It used to be keeping up with the Joneses. That's what it used to be called. So now when we look at social media, everybody thinks they deserve to live like that person, but they don't want to have the intelligence nor the hard work to be able to live like that person. So they think that working at Panda Express, scooping some damn orange chicken onto a plate and handing it to somebody should be $30 an hour minimum wage. Why? Because they can't live like the Joneses. It's frustrating. So what you have is now you have a collapse of the top tier system, and then you have the increase of the bottom tier system. So the bottom tier is not working or doing anything, and the top tier is looking around going, well, why the hell am I going to bust my ass 80, 90 hours a week being an accountant, a CPA, when I could take a little bit of a pay cut, not have to use my brain at all. I don't have to do anything. And because my IQ is already up here, well, I could be an idiot. I could just zone out and zombify myself, and I could just do that job. And you want to know why I'm bringing that up? Because it's exactly what's happening, you guys. They can't find CPAs right now. They cannot. You want to know why? Because one, people don't want to do it anymore, like myself. Why even bother when I could just go do something else and I'm almost getting paid the same? Hell, I could go get a job at freaking Staples and stock shelves, and I'm killing it. I'm making fucking great money. Great money. And I don't even have to use my brain. Are you kidding me? See, the IQ jobs can always do the low IQ jobs. The low IQ jobs cannot do the high IQ jobs. And you also don't want to know the other reason why they can't find CPAs right now? Because people can't pass the damn thing. People aren't getting actual grades in high school and college anymore. And you could talk to, I work with college professors, by the way. Just going to let you know, I work with college professors, so I hear exactly what they're saying and passing kids through the system. So when you pass kids through the system, well, they got a 4.0 at USC in accountancy. Oh, got to hire them. And they can't pass a CPA exam. You want to know why? Because they didn't pass the actual college curriculum in the first place. What makes you think they're pass the CPA exam? So now what they're doing with the CPA is they're thinking about dumbing it down. I'm not exaggerating that one bit. That's actually coming from the actual council that makes the exam itself. So, anyways, I got on a huge ass tangent there. It's frustrating. So yeah, jack the price up. I don't care. Get people out there working again. Stop asking for $85 an hour to freaking, rake leaves or something. Shit, I don't know. So the Project Firewall, the Department of Labor rolled out Project Firewall on Friday. Far too long, Washington politicians have stayed silent as employers abuse the H-1B visas under President Trump. This is coming to an end today. The Department of Labor is proud to launch Project Firewall, the department said in a promo video released on X. Project Firewall is intended to crack down on abusive H-1B visa program. So we'll see if that actually happens. We'll see. We already have a major issue in our country with just everything from education. We have everything. Like the country's burning down in front of our eyes. I hate to be a pessimist? But I really do believe that. Well, we have this here, quite interesting. Secret Service is dismantling imminent electronic threat ahead of the Trump UN speech. So we have some pictures for all of you. This does not look very good. So we'll make sure we break that down for all of you. But in the meantime, we might as well go to a sponsor here for the Bald Brad Show. And let's check this one out here. Let's see what we have here today for this. So, are you a football fanatic? Well, this one's for you. Are you ready for the primetime NFL action, baby? I've actually been getting more into football. Tune into Westwood One for all the glory you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, baby. Don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory on Westwood One. I mean, this is the place to get the stream, folks. It's clear, it's crisp, and it's jam-packed, and you're going to have all the angles watching it. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on westwoodonesports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, meaning you can get the darn thing anywhere and everywhere, baby, so you're not missing the game. You're at the baseball game watching the kid miss every single batting opportunity. Well, don't worry. You can watch NFL and actually have somebody not miss their opportunities of making a tackle, folks. So you're out there watching, Pop Warner, and your kid can't make a tackle. Don't worry, because you can have the Westwood One app right in front of you and watch a real tackle take place. Again, you can get that on basically any app that is connected to Westwood One. If it's the NFL, then it's Westwood One, folks. Make sure you use the QR code on the screen right now and get that app. Look, game day's coming. Be prepared. Be square. Get it on Westwood One. Love that sponsorship. Love it. All righty. Well, let's look into this. Again, the Secret Service said Tuesday that it had dismantled a network of electronic devices in New York that had been used to target senior federal government officials with telecommunications threat. I mean, look at these photos here, man. If you're on audio, you got to look at this. I don't even put it this way. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. It looks like a lot of Wi-Fi routers, but who knows? I mean, this could be very misleading. It's just an empty room. Somebody bought an empty room. This room is bigger than my closet that I'm sitting in now. The agency said that the New York posed a threat to its protective operations, and that it could have been used to disrupt Tuesday's meeting of the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. Investigators discovered 300 co-located SIM servers and 100,000 SIM cards across multiple sites, capable of crippling telecom systems and carrying out anonymous telephonic attacks. What the hell does that mean? The network is tied to foreign actors and individuals known to law enforcement. Is it possible? Now, just hear me out. I have no idea. Do you guys remember when 9/11 happened? Meaning there was a terrorist attack and everybody was on their phones, and it was actually jamming there's so many people on it that it was jamming the system. Is this something that could basically do that same thing, where if there was attack or something, it would create chaos to where they're jamming the systems, and you couldn't communicate with like walkie-talkies and stuff nowadays? They still call them walkie-talkies? You guys know what I'm talking about. So the announcement comes just hours before the Trump is set to address the UN. I mean, look at these here, huh? So good on the, I mean, look at that. What the hell? Oh, we're going to look at this. Look at this. Like, what is this? Now, I'm trying to see. Now, it's really clean, to be fair. I'm trying to see if they're plugged in. Yeah, they are plugged in. Look at that. And it goes under. Yeah. It's odd. Really odd. They didn't really say what they're having that or the need of it for. So my instinct is this is espionage, said Mr. Ferrante, who previously served in top crypto security positions at the White House and the FBI. In addition to jamming this, there you go. There you go. Ha! Folks, I'm an idiot, but I get it right a lot. I'll tell you. I mean, your host, me, Bald Brad, because I'm bald, I'm on it. Look, I told you. In addition to jamming the cellular network, he said, such a large amount of equipment near the United Nations could be used for eavesdropping. Interesting. I don't know. Well, I guess there's a lot of sidebar conversations, a lot of water cooler talk there. James A. Lewis, a cybersecurity researcher at the Center for European Policy Analysis in Washington, said that only a handful of countries could pull off such an operation, including Russia, China, and Israel. Well, I know that all three of them spy on us. So, I mean, you're kind of batting 100 here, right? You're batting perfect because we know they do, and we know Israel does. So, which is kind of messed up that our own ally spies on us. But to be fair, we spy on our allies. And some might say, Israel's not our ally. Okay, sure, man. Yeah, they're not our ally. Yeah, whatever's going to make you feel better. Yeah, those people frustrate the hell out of me. Well, on paperwork, it doesn't officially say, technically it doesn't say that there are allies. So technically you're wrong. Well, technically you don't need to be in my stream. How about that? Okay. Because you can technically this, technically that. It's like, all right, yeah, we're having a conversation. We're having it in broad terms. There are allies. Okay. Well, technically, they're not a friend. They're an acquaintance, because friends share more time and do things with each other, technically. But then an acquaintance, it's like, shut up, dude. You can't talk with those people. You just can't talk with, right? They're just annoying. They're like know-it-alls. It's like, shut up. Just have a conversation. Be a normal human being for once. All right, we have this one right here. Allegedly, and it's not a surprise, Biden's FBI worked with radical pro-abortion groups to target pro-lifers. Emails show. Oh, more stuff about Joey. As the Biden administration locked up elderly grandparents, see, you gotta look the other way though. Right here, you see this? You gotta do one of these. Yeah. Joey locking up people for congregational services, locking up pastors and priests, locking up his political opponents. But don't worry, you guys. Trump is definitely an authoritarian. Oh, it's great. Devout Christians over peaceful pro-life protests. It partnered with the radical pro-abortion organization to prosecute pro-lifers, previously unreleased emails show. So you go out and you're protesting in the streets to save the unborn, meaning human life, and they arrest you for that. But yet you can go out for Black Lives Matter, burn down businesses all across the country, entire cities ablaze. Not a damn thing happens to you. You can be dressed and work with Antifa, beat the crap out of Andy No, a journalist, or just beat the crap out of anybody you want, and nothing happens to you. But you go out in the streets and you shout to the skies that Christ is king because you practice Christianity, and your ass gets locked up. But don't worry, Trump's authoritarian. You can go out and say whatever you want on social media, targeting Christians, saying they should actually be deleted, meaning Destiny said this. Nothing happens to you. But if a Christian, Catholic, or anybody else that's on the right-hand side of the aisle, maybe a conservative or Republican, which would be weird why they would say that, because that's not one of the values we hold. Well, they're locked up and thrown in the break. Gotcha. Okay, so double standard. Double standard is what I'm getting at. Well, President Joe Biden's Justice Department and FBI partnered with a National Abortion Federation for multiple investigations into pro-life protests and developed an amazing relationship, according to emails shared with the Daily Wire by the Functional Government Initiative. The watchdog group told the Daily Wire that the emails show a disturbing picture of DOJ's eagerness to meet with pro-abortion lobbyists and activists and punish pro-life Americans in the aftermath of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Well, there's no real overturning. They just gave the power back to the states, which I don't get it, you guys. This is what, so I don't know if you're aware, they actually don't teach civics in school. They haven't taught civics in school in like 20 years, maybe. No, maybe close to 20 years. Yeah, they haven't taught civics in school. You could take like a semester government class as like an elective or whatever. Some still require that. It's not enough. I think you should have to take government all 4 years of high school and have to take like an assessment. But so they don't even do a high school exit exam anymore. So you don't even know what the hell these kids are coming out knowing, which is nothing, by the way. But the power should be back with the states, the unionized states. And that's all they did. That's how things were made. So they're all upset because we're just going back to how this country was created of, yeah, you know what? The states have the more power, and that's how it should be. I mean, hell, your locality should have a ton of power too, because that's the one that has the most influence on your life is your local government. Well, I mean, we're giving all this power to these guys in Washington that don't know who the hell we are. And then, honestly, you're giving power to these governors who don't know who the hell you are either. I mean, California has like 40 million Americans or something like that. You think Gavin Newsom knows anything? The guy's an idiot. So no, more power should be left to my locality because it's easier to get up and move from locality to locality. And also state to state, to be fair. So you'd want to go to a local area, like they have in Orange County, by the way. So if you're in LA County and you go, you know what, this place is dog doo-doo because it smells like dog doo-doo. Well, you can get up and just move 30 miles south, and you get Orange County, completely different area. Like a completely different vibe, man. It's clean. Yeah, there's homeless here in different areas, but not much of it. And we all kicked them out to LA County because LA County offers a lot of stuff. So it's a side tangent there. But I'm just tired of, oh, well, you're overturning Roe v. Wade. No, you can still go you can still go slaughter a kid. Yeah, you can go chop up a kid if you want. You just got to go to a different state for it. If you want it that bad, you go to a different state for it. The relationship of the apparent partnership came in a message sent by the National Abortion Federation Security Council, or manager rather, Robert Legdegar. On January 9th, 2023, the Justice Department requesting a meeting with Kristen Clark, then the Justice Department's Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. Yeesh. Unbelievable. Well, there's Joey targeting people again. But don't worry. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Trump's the authoritarian, not Joe Biden. The guy that used AutoPen, made up a bunch of stuff, doesn't have a clue what's happening. Yeah. Okay, man. Sure. Let's see what's going on in the chat over here. We called it from the beginning about the Biden administration from day one. That is correct. Yes, we did. I just read Cali passed a new rule for free speech on social media. I'll have to look into that. I have not heard that. We did. Gavin Newsom did pass this whole thing about increasing taxes, basically, on property. So we'll look at that at some point later. Maybe during Dark MAGA today. We will have Dark MAGA during 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. This one I wanted to get to. Kamala Harris is really bad at interviews. So Maddow presses Harris yesterday on Buttigieg to say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay. It's hard to hear, but here we go.
Action to that since this part of the book has come out. If you've had any reflection on that, or I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear. Yeah. With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively.
Hold on.
President, to say that he couldn't be elected to that high office, very nearly elected president, that high office, very nearly elected president.
She thinks, I'll play it, I'm sorry. She thinks she thinks, I'm containing myself. My eyes are starting to water. She thinks Kamala Harris almost won. God, delusion. This is the reality they concoct for themselves, because when you do that, you become a little bit more stable. Can you imagine if she wasn't stable? She thinks Kamala Harris almost won.
To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump, who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States.
Oh, here we go.
And as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Why?
No matter how, I've been an advocate and an ally of the LGBT community my entire life. So it wasn't about, yeah, right. So it wasn't.
But when it comes to actually advocating for them and putting them up on the ticket, no. Don't worry, though. I've advocated for my entire life, but when push comes to shove, we're going to just shove you off the cliff, Pete. Later, brother. Yeah. Oh, you got to love it, right? The hypocrisy, the irony of it all. Oh, so unbelievable. I'm going to support the gays up until it actually matters. Then I'm just going to say peace.
About any prejudice on my part, but
that
we had such a short period of time.
It's unbelievable, dude.
And the stakes were so high. I think Pete is a phenomenal public servant. And I think America is and would be ready for that. But at when I had to make that decision with 2 weeks to go, you know, and maybe I was being too cautious.
Hey, hold on. Hey, just couldn't advocate for him. You're right. If you just rephrase it, that's what she's saying. I advocated for the gays for years. I mean, I really have their back. But, it's just a quick turnaround here, and we'll get 2 weeks, and just couldn't advocate for you, Pete.
I'll let our friends, we should all talk about that. Maybe I was. But that's the decision I made, and I, as with everything else in the book, I'm being very candid about that.
Yeah.
With a great deal of sadness about also
you look
the fact
so touched
that it might have been a risk.
Yeah.
Well, you consider.
Dude, you know what? I kind of miss it. I'll be honest, because it's such a content generator. These people are so stupid. It just, it makes for endless content, you guys. And I don't even know where to start. It doesn't end there. Oh, it's one of the worst interviews I've seen in quite some time. Then she goes on. And she's now supporting Zohran Mamdani, you guys. An actual socialist.
The fastest rising star right now in Democratic politics is Zohran Mamdani, who is going to be elected mayor of New York City. And
why do they talk like that? I know. I'm going to go back. Hold on. Who's going to be elected mayor of New York City? You guys notice that they talk like why do you have to why can't you just say, yeah, rumor is that he's going to be elected the next president of New York City. Why do you have, hold on a second. You can see more of my body, my thick body. He's going to be elected the next vice president, right? He's going to be elected the mayor of New York City. Watch, I'm not wrong. Watch.
Mamdani, who is going to be elected mayor of New York City, and probably in a landslide if the polls are anything to go by. Lots of mainline Democrats have been very shy about his candidacy. They seem somewhat flummoxed by his success. As a sort of talent spotter in the Democratic Party, what do you think?
I'm sorry, you guys. I got to. Just give me a moment. Indulge me. I'm going to be selfish right now. This is more for me than it is you. God, I wish we were watching this during Dark Mag. I could really pop off. Oh. Please, look at this.
Talent spotter in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Oh, a talent. You're a real talent spotter. Sure she is. Yeah, you're a real scout up there in the stands, Kamala. You've been doing a great job really picking people. What the fuck is she talking about? What is she talking about? Hold on. Everybody simmer down. Oh. Fuck, I might have to watch this whole interview later.
What do you think of him and his candidacy? And what do you think of mainline Democratic shyness and agitation about the prospect that he's going to win?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, he's the Democratic nominee and he should be supported. Do
you endorse his candidacy?
I support the Democrat in the race. Sure.
Oh my
the
God.
Fastest rising star right now in Democratic politics.
Supporting a full-blown socialist. But don't worry, you guys. He's not just a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. There's a difference. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what they'll tell you, right? That whole party plays a twist on words. This is not a good look, by the way. Look at this.
Do you endorse his candidacy?
I support the Democrat in the race.
What that says is, I'm supporting somebody just because they're a Democrat. That's what she's saying. What a terrible way to vote. What an idiot. I don't vote for somebody just because they're Republican, by the way. But in my local elections, I have voted not at the top of the ticket before because I didn't like a Republican candidate. I have done that. So just because you're some party doesn't mean you vote on party. What an idiot. What an idiot. So Remember, you have to tone down your rhetoric, right? You guys need to change. The Democrat Party doesn't need to change. You have to change because you're the problem. Well, Kamala Harris, as you've seen, has come out of hiding after losing horribly to President Trump and says basically he's a tyrant and compares him to a communist dictator. No, I'm not kidding. This is real. This is not AI.
And right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant.
Oh.
We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald Trump.
Do you want to know why I lined up those clips perfectly? Come here. Come on, everybody in. Huddle up. Huddle up. Everybody come in here. Yep. If you're at work, come in. Come on. Hurry it up. Listen.
Our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald.
She just said in the clip before that she was supporting Zohran Mamdani. Hello, I understand one socialist, one communist, not too far away. I mean, they're in some cases they do overlap. It's like a Venn diagram. Hello, did everybody else catch that? Patriots, I'm looking at the chat. If you see me looking over here, that means I'm looking at you. We're in a huddle up right now. Everybody put your arms around each other. Damn it, Jeff, brush your teeth. It stinks. We're a different show here in the morning. I bring you the entertainment. We're one of the top podcasts on Rumble, by the way, in the morning slot. Kamala, you idiot. But don't worry. Also, you need to change down your tone, your rhetoric. Because when people go and delete you, don't worry. They're going to be prancing in the streets, right? With their pink colored hair. I killed a communist. Look at me. I killed a fascist. Because everybody hates communists and fascists and socialists. Well, not clearly that much. And so when you look at things as evil, well, you're supposed to be excited that evil was defeated. That was the end of that clip. Thank God we're done with Kamala. She's terrible. Can you believe that she was vice president? Shit. I know. It seems so long ago. Yeah. Oh, but don't worry. You make sure you guys change your tone, your rhetoric, and well, the left isn't. So, oh boy, man, just wild stuff coming from the Democrat Party. You know what we haven't played in a while? I realized this last night, and I got to apologize to you guys. It's been a hot minute since we played any Scott Jennings clip, and you deserve an apology. Scott is a national treasure. He deserves to be instituted in the Hall of Fame, and he is. Well, check this out. Yesterday, I couldn't believe this. I retweeted it. Yesterday, Scott Jennings on X basically added at FBI Director Kash Patel. Look at this. Keith Olbermann just threatened Scott Jennings. He quickly deleted the set of tweets after getting called out on it. Now, I know a few of you old because you don't have your damn glasses on, so let me zoom in for you. See, we can poke fun at one another. We like each other. See how my audience can take a joke because they know I love them? It's not. There's part truth to that. Some of you are old and you can't see, but you know that you're old and can't see, so hell. I'm bald. You make fun of, hell, the show's called Bald Brad. It's not supposed to be taken that seriously. I could poke fun at myself. Well, we got Keith Olbermann. This guy, I don't even know why he's still relevant. You're next, mother effer, is what he said. But keep mugging to the camera. Dude, my response to this, and I know you all know this, I retweeted this and said the left is unhinged. These people are lunatics, man. They've lost their damn minds. And does he have every right to say this? Yeah. But this is what they do. And I've explained this before. This has also been echoed by Tim Pool in like the last 2 weeks, ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination, is what the left does is they have weaponized the First Amendment. You have to read between the lines. We all know what this means. We all know what this means, right? But this is the game that they play. So implying that he's next to be deleted, right? That's what the implication is here. But once FBI knocks on his door, hey Keith, what do you mean by this? Oh, I just meant that he's the next one to be canceled. You know, Jimmy Kimmel was the one that was canceled most recently. Now he's being brought back. But yeah, you're the one next to me on suspension, you mother effer. So keep mugging the camera, because what's going to happen is CNN's going to, take you off the air. This is the crap that they pull, you guys, is we know what they meant, but then they don't have even the balls to say what they meant because they're freaking cowards. And now this is how they get away with it. So this is what we've been talking for the last, 12 days since Charlie was assassinated. This is the stuff that they pull and have been pulling for years, by the way. And I call it out in my book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. This is the crap that they pull. So somebody needs to be knocking on this guy's door. What do you mean by that, Keith? Like, I don't understand why. Like, I call people idiots. I don't say that you should go target anybody. I don't say that you should hurt anybody because of the things they said. I'll just call you a knucklehead. And by the way, that doesn't mean you're an idiot in totality, like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Like, they're actually probably pretty intelligent on some things. Not everything. Nobody's like that. There was a Scott Jennings clip I wanted to show. Where the heck is it? Was this one it? No. I'll see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. This one. So Scott Jennings fires back at Jasmine Crockett, who claimed Charlie was a racist. This is the one I want to show. Here we go.
For there. Appreciate it. The House overwhelmingly passed a resolution on Friday to honor the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk after that assassination last week. The measure passed by 310 to 58. Democrats were heavily split on the issue. The resolution can.
Democrats were split on the issue, although Republicans voted unanimously when a Democrat was assassinated, a few months ago. Every single Republican voted for it in conjunction with the Democrat Party. Democrats, why? Because the left has taken over that party.
Condemns his death and political violence and hails the conservative activist as a courageous American patriot. I want to discuss with CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings and CNN chief political analyst David Axelrod. Hello to you both. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to start on that resolution because to me it is kind of a window into the way that politicians in both parties are grappling with this moment that we are in, not just leading into the memorial, but the moment after the horrible assassination of Charlie Kirk. Markwayne Mullin was on State of the Union this morning. He is a huge ally of President Trump. He was a friend of Charlie Kirk's. He's going to the funeral today. He brought up with me how upset he was that Democrats voted against that resolution. Afterwards, I spoke to Jasmine Crockett, Democrat of Texas. She was one of the 58 to vote no. Listen to what he said and her reason after that.
Because he's racist.
The same resolution that had Charlie Kirk's name on, you had 58 representatives vote no, 38 voted present, 22 chose not to vote. That is silent. So you had 118 individuals that didn't condemn it because
Senator,
why?
Get to that,
because of hypocrisy over both sides.
Is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was, specifically to us.
Scott Jennings?
We didn't see it because, one, that's not what happened. So we can't see something that never happened. And two, it's you only saw it because you want to be a victim. That's really what it is. We don't have a victim mentality in the conservative party and the Republican movement. Yeah, we're not victims.
Well, she's lying. I mean, Charlie Kirk targeted nobody. He was not racist in any way. I've listened to hours and hours and hours and hours of Charlie Kirk debates and talks and have been with Charlie Kirk and did events with Charlie Kirk and knew Charlie Kirk. There wasn't a racist bone in his body. To say that he was continuously targeting people of color is nothing but a malicious smear on the very day that people are remembering Charlie and he's going to be laid to rest. And so I think we need to combine the no votes on the resolution, and then you look at the leading Democratic voices like Ilhan Omar and Jasmine Crockett, who've gone out to smear Charlie before he's even had his funeral. When I hear people say, well, you need to come together and both sides need to turn down the rhetoric, a lot of the people saying that need to look inward right now. I was shocked at that. Well, I guess I shouldn't say I'm shocked by her, but I was a little stunned by what happened this morning.
David?
Yeah, well, look, first of all, let's just say a couple of things. One is,
it's like, God, okay, dude. It ends right there. There's nothing else after the clip. I mean, Scott's right here. Scott's always right. There's no point in even elaborating even further. The man knows what he's talking about, and he speaks the truth. And now the Dems are targeting him as well. A bunch of other conservatives, for that matter, as well. So, we're end with the show right now. We are done, folks. Thanks for hanging out with me, Bald Brad. And make sure you check out baldbrad.com. We have a lot of goodies over there for you. Again, that's baldbrad.com. It's free to head over there, folks. And maybe if you want to do a donation, you can. There's a donation tab at the top. If you click that, don't feel like you have to. It's just there for those that want to. And we get 97% of the proceeds. So if you do $1, we get 97 cents. If you donate through YouTube or Rumble, they take a large portion of that money that you're sending. This, which is why we created on the website, is because you guys said, hey, I want my money to go to you in the show. So how do I do that? Well, that's what we created here for you. You can do a custom amount, meaning if you want to do $1, you can do $1. If you want to do $2, which some people do, you got $2. Do weekly, one time, anything you want, folks. Everything helps. I'll take your money because we need help supporting the show. You keep the lights on here for us. And it is my hobby. I fund basically the whole thing, but any help is greatly appreciated. So thank you to everybody that contributes. Thank you to the moderators. We'll be back here today, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Dark MAGA, which gets spicy. With that being said, God bless you. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for our enemies. Pray for unity in this country. And pray for Charlie Kirk and his family and Charlie Kirk himself. Take care, Patriots.